taking care of the kingdom and the citizens and the problems. So, like he was saying that it was a 14-year honeymoon, which by the grace of KK we have offered. So he was grateful, even such a thing happening in his life, he was expressing his gratitude. So the Acharyas, they explain that when Lord Ram is expressing his gratitude, that is something which has to be marked as, a very, very striking feature in someone. Because he doesn't have to be grateful. In this world, one has to be grateful because we are already fallen. Our condition is, we are already fallen in this material world. So, in that condition, whatever is offered to us, it's something which we don't deserve. We have left Krishna, rebelled against him, come in this material world, still staying in this material world, acting in a way that we don't want to surrender unto him completely. And in spite of all of that, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, he sends his representatives, his dhams, his scriptures, he himself comes. So which means whatever we get from the Supreme Lord, even if somebody who is not surrendering unto the Supreme Lord but just living in this material world, using up all the resources given by nature, breathing the air, the food, the water and all of that, one has to be grateful that I have been given something which I do not deserve. But as far as Lord Ram, these acharyas, they explain that he doesn't have to be grateful. Because everything comes from him. He deserves everything. And still he is exhibiting his gratitude. So yes, that is the lesson which Lord Ram is teaching. So herein, as the title might have some play upon its words, but still, if we are not grateful, then definitely we'll be great fools. So, what do we have today? We'll be discussing these points: nature of this world, philosophy of the fools, the three kinds of living, and ultimately we'll be discussing how to cultivate gratitude. Now, when we talk about the nature of this world, what does Krishna explain? The nature of this world. Who knows? Dukhalayam asashvatam. Dukhalayam means it's miserable, and asashvatam means it is temporary. Even if we may think that we can accomplish some happiness, Krishna says it's temporary. Now Krishna also says that there is some kind of sukha. In the same Gita, Krishna says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate bodha. In this particular verse, Krishna is saying that there is bhoga. When the senses come in contact with the sense object, Krishna says, samsparshaja bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. So Krishna is talking about there is some enjoyment. But then he says that that's the seed of misery. It's illusion. That's the seed of misery. So I have a nice quote over here. It's kind of a paradox which speaks about the mixture of bhoga and dukkha and the temporal nature of this material world. Often you get what you don't want, and you don't get what you actually want. We have heard that many times. But further on it says, even if you get, you can't enjoy it for long. Because what you enjoy is not permanent, as Krishna says, asashvatam. And even if something appears to be permanent, after a while, starts becoming boring. So herein, why are we trying to understand the nature of this world? Because it behooves upon every conditioned living entity to seek the shelter of Lord at every given point. When we just see the material world around, just Step out of this temple. And you'll come to know. In fact, I don't even have to say. You all know better than me, living over here, that what's the nature. A sample of this material world is very much present all around you. So, the nature of this material world has to be understood in order to understand that if I am not acknowledging the mercy which I have received from the Lord at every point, at every step, then definitely this material world is there to make a fool out of me. Now, we see that the sense object which have been designed by material energy, they are very alluring, and they have potency in them by which they can give us a feeling that yes, I deserve these sense objects because I have the senses. Is it not? When we start using our senses, how do we use our senses? Whenever the sense objects, when the senses interact with the sense objects, yes, automatically we are in a consciousness that my senses are now in the full potency, that yes, they are in contact with the sense objects. So there is a sense of ownership. Even if your eyes are watching something which is very beautiful, if it is not connected to Krishna, then the eyes, they, as they say, no, the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Let us say, beauty is in the eyes of a beholder. And I had another quote which I read recently. It said, beauty nowadays is in the eyes of the beer holder. So, when the eyes, they are trying to appreciate some beauty, but if it is not connected to Krishna, then the eyes, they start to own that particular sense object. When the tongue is trying to enjoy some food stuff, the tongue is trying to own that food stuff, or the ears, or the nostrils, or the skin, all these five senses. When they are not engaging in that particular gratification which is in connection with Krishna, then they start to own the sense objects. And what happens is, then this consciousness of being ungrateful creeps in. That yes, I am the one, I am the doer. It's me who is securing all these sense objects from my senses. Then we have the stringent laws, the laws of nature which are so stringent. As you sow, so shall you reap. And the laws of nature are such that it is said that the mills of God, they grind very slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. And every day in newspapers and we see all around us the stringent laws of nature which is working upon every conditioned living entity. Even when we are in Krishna consciousness, we experience that we are a little lax in our Krishna consciousness, and the laws of nature, they are there to grab. What is that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita? Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vancha kore, nikatastha maya tare chhopatiya dhare. So over here in this verse it is said that when the living entity is bahirmukh, when he looks away from the Supreme Lord, then he has to look towards the material energy. And in this verse it is said that nikata, the material energy is as close as the super soul is close to the soul. Now how many times we have heard that how close the super soul is to the soul? The example of the two birds. So in this verse it is said similarly, one side is Krishna, the other side is material energy. And the moment we try to look away from Krishna, material energy is there to chapatiya, grab. Is there ready. So the stringent laws of nature are there always. It's all pervading, just like Krishna is all pervading. Then hope against hope.